So, here's a question for you. Have you ever wondered if your life is supposed to be some kind of scavenger hunt, or more like a blank canvas? In other words, are you here to find yourself, or are you here to create yourself? We're about to dive into an idea that might just change how you look at, well, everything.
I mean, let's really think about this for a second. One of these paths suggests you're basically a detective, out there looking for clues to an identity that's already been written for you. But the other path? It says you're an artist, and your life is the masterpiece you're painting moment by moment. The difference between those two is honestly huge.
Let's break it down. The whole discovery idea implies there's this fixed, hidden you that you just have to uncover, right? But creation, now that's different. It puts all the power right back into your hands. It says there is no preset identity. You are the architect, and you're building who you are with every single choice you make.
And this is the core idea we're going to unpack. The quote says the deepest secret isn't about finding out who you are, but about deciding who you are. I mean, that completely flips the script, doesn't it? It's a massive shift from being a seeker to being a creator. It's a pretty wild thought. Now, this powerful idea of creation really clashes with a metaphor that, we've all heard 1,000 times. This belief that life is a school.
And look, that's a totally fair point. We've been told our whole lives that we're here to learn lessons, pass some tests, and maybe one day graduate to something else. But what if that whole school model is just, well, wrong? What if it misses the entire point of why we're really here?
Here's the key difference. A school is a place you go to learn stuff you don't already know, right? But this perspective argues that life is actually the opposite. It's a place to come and experience what your soul on some level already knows conceptually. It's all about turning an idea into a real, lived reality. Okay, so that obviously leads to a pretty big question. If our souls are already all-knowing, then what is the point of all this? Why even bother with the physical world and all its messiness? Well, the answer apparently lies in a really simple but profound distinction, the gap between knowing something in your head and feeling it in your bones. It's the difference between a concept and an experience. And that experience is what our souls crave more than anything. Just think about it like this. You can sit around all day and think, I am a generous person. And that's a nice thought. It's a concept. But it's only when you actually go out and give something to someone without expecting anything back that you get to experience what generosity actually feels like. That's when the idea becomes real. And that, right there, is said to be the driving force behind all of existence. The soul wants to move beyond just thinking about things. It has these grand concepts of itself, like love or compassion or wisdom, and its deepest desire is to make them real in the physical world, to actually feel what it's like to be those things. So, why? Why is the universe set up this way? To get at that, we've got to zoom out. I mean way, way out. We need to go all the way back to the beginning, to a kind of cosmic origin story that explains how experience itself even became possible. So in the very beginning, the story goes, there was only one thing, a single unified consciousness. You can call it God, the universe, all that is, whatever works for you. It was everything. And because it was everything, there was literally nothing else. And this created a pretty big cosmic problem. Think about it. How can you know that you are magnificent if there's nothing that isn't magnificent to compare yourself to? How do you know you're tall if the concept of short doesn't even exist? Without an opposite, a quality can't be experienced. It can exist as an idea, sure, but it's not a felt reality. So, what was the solution? To solve this cosmic puzzle, all that is did something absolutely incredible. It divided itself. It shattered itself into countless tiny pieces. It went from being just one thing to being this over here and that over there. And this created perspective. For the very first time, one piece could look back at another and say, wow, look at you. And that, right there, was the birth of relativity, the engine that makes all experience possible. And you can see this everywhere. For the universe to know itself as pure love, its polar opposite, fear, had to be created too. This is that great duality we talk about. One defines the other. You can't have light without dark, up without down, and you can't truly experience love unless fear also exists as a possibility. Okay, so that was a pretty mind-bending cosmic story. But what does any of that have to do with you, right here, right now, living your life? Well, let's bring this whole thing down from the cosmos and into our day-to-day existence.
The idea is that every single one of us is a tiny piece of that original divine consciousness. We're its children, you could say. And because of that, we hold the exact same power that it does, the power to create. We are not just passive things that were created, we are active creators in our own right.
And apparently, it all follows this four-step dance. First, we forget our true nature when we're born into this world. And this amnesia is actually super important. It's what gives us the genuine free will to choose who we are instead of just being told. Then, with every single choice we make, we create ourselves. And what's the end goal? To remember. And notice that hyphen there. It's not just about recalling a memory, it's about literally becoming a member of the whole once again.
So what's your purpose in all of this? According to this idea, it's not to learn something new. It's to first remember and then recreate who you've always been. It's about taking the concept of you, the highest, grandest, most wonderful version of yourself you can possibly imagine, and turning it into a lived experience. And the cool part is, by doing that for yourself, you become a living reminder for everyone else to do the same. So, we end right back where we started. If life isn't a scavenger hunt but a workshop, if you're not a detective but an artist, then there's really only one question left to ask yourself. Who are you going to create today? The canvas is blank, the tools are in your hands. What's it going to be?